Welcome back. This is part 2 of session 7 of StarFinder, the Fragments of Eternity. It's the 12th of November 2018. I am Ryan. This is part 2. I am the GM. Here are the players.
Hi, I'm Nico. I'm playing Zora, the Vestguard.
Hi, I'm Alex. I play Nix 5, the android mechanic.
I'm Colin. I play Lyko, who is the spooky boy.
I'm Calum, and I am your favourite space rat, Zigg.
Thus
Your
far.
least favourite space rat.
Excellent. Hashtag Calum is precious. Hashtag Olka is precious. And hashtag smash that like button.
Smash the like button. Ring the bell.
Okay.
Smash!
So
Ring the bell.
we fade out on that conversation. Where do we fade back in? Probably later on day 2, right?
Mm-hmm. At some point, I think Nix would be intending to talk to Alice.
Okay, yeah.
Specifically, I'd ask her to come to cargo hold B
Okay.
containment chamber.
Like, you calm her that, like, after like that meeting maybe breaks up a bit, and maybe everybody goes their own ways, and maybe Alice just kind of sat in that room for a bit longer, and then you calm her, and she's like, okay, I'll be right there. And then like 10 minutes pass.
Alice, what's the hold up?
I do not know where I'm going.
Okay. I will come and find you, and then I'll give you the tour of the ship first.
I would appreciate that.
So.
I am here.
Dim blink of the LEDs.
Yeah.
And then Nix 5 heads off to find her. Assume it won't take long because it's not a huge ship.
She's pretty much in the corridor outside the room. But she's like facing the other way.
Alice.
Oh! And she turns round. You weren't on the comms that time, and she points like to her helmet.
No.
And she like her hand that's pointing like at her neck just like turns into a wave. Hi.
Hi, Alice. Let me show you around the ship first.
Okay. I assume you give her the tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. You show her everything?
I don't think there's anything... Well... Yeah, I don't think there's anything we want to hide from her.
Okay, so she has seen it all.
Yes.
Good. Okay, yep.
And then return to the containment field.
Yep, cool. Yep.
Alice, what do you know about the assembly ooze?
And she kind of like goes, It can make stuff, but I don't like it.
Why don't you like it?
It would eat me. She says it like very
That's
quickly
fair.
and very like bluntly. It would eat me. And she looks at you and she kind of squints her eyes and goes, it would eat you too.
You probably will encounter other things that will to eat or harm you if you continue with the crew.
She looks like quite confused by that statement. She's like, why?
There's a lot of places out there in the galaxy that are less sterile than Baskerville Station. There's some unsavory types, and often it's our job to meet with them.
Right. She like looks to herself and goes, okay.
So do you know how the ooze came to be?
Yes. And she like gestures her hand broadly to the containment field. She goes, you brought it with you.
I meant how it was created.
In that case,
Oh.
no.
Do you know how... I believe you mentioned before that it could be programmed?
Yes. Everything can be programmed. And she slowly nods.
I don't know if I'd say everything can be programmed, but... You don't happen to know how we can program this particular thing?
Not yet. And kind of like does like a quizzical face. As if,
You-
like, based on the previous conversation about her looking for a purpose, she's wondering if she says no, will that mean she doesn't have a purpose, and is she allowed to stay on the ship?
Perhaps we can work together to find out how to use this thing.
Like friends.
What do you mean?
And she kind of like looks and blinks back at you, and then goes, or not.
Oh, you mean us as friends?
No.
With the
And she like
ooze?
looks to the side, and she like, I can help you work on the ooze. She kind of like nods, as if trying to change the subject.
Alice, I don't have any issue with us being friends. I understand that.
Good. Me neither.
You-
And she's like turns to face like the ooze deliberately.
I understand you'll go through some difficulties adjusting to this new life with the body and everything.
That is definitely new.
If there's anything I can do to assist, if you're going to be part of the crew, please let me know.
Like she turns back to you, and you can see like she's slightly more kind of pinky purpley than orange now. She's looking at it and she goes, I'm going to go and stand in the other cargo bay for a bit. And then she just goes and walks out the room. Like
Very well.
no more information, just walks away.
I think Nick's can appreciate that.
Yeah. Like that was definitely, as you would describe, awkward.
Could I have been listening in from a nearby doorway?
I mean, yeah, like you could maybe have like caught him like touring. They toured the ship, right? So
Or
they've been in all the
caught him,
rooms, right? So maybe after that, after they wandered by your room, maybe your door was open and you were lying in your bunk reading or something, probably reading. You were like, you maybe thought, what are those two up to? And maybe you just slowly followed them.
Yes.
Like
yes,
maybe the
that's-
shots are as they walk into new rooms, you're leaning against the background.
Yes.
Just outside where they've walked past.
Very animated.
Like,
I like
with your data pad, just as you're flicking through, my first visit to Eox. A tourist's
So
guide.
as she walks off, I take it Nix is probably still standing there for a second or what have
But
you.
maybe the shot is obviously that he's in the containment room, she walks out the door and heads round to the right, which is towards Cargo Bay A, and you're leaning against the left-hand side of the doorway outside it.
Yeah.
So she doesn't necessarily notice you as she walks very directly into the cargo bay.
I'd sort of pop round, make myself visible to Nix. So that was weird.
What was weird?
Flashbacks to your
Oh,
entire
sure.
upbringing on Abalone.
Yeah, she's interesting.
She's... Yes. I reckon she's going to have some time adjusting, but I believe she'll be a useful asset.
yeah, I guess I don't disagree. Ooh. We'll see. For the meantime, though, being her friend? You sure that's possible?
Which bit of that troubles you?
It doesn't trouble me. I just don't know. I don't know if she thinks in the same way we do.
I mean, that does presume that we think in the same way.
I love the idea of in that shot. Maybe it's the shot where one person's at one side of the frame, the other person's at the other side of the frame. Like that presumes we think in the same way, and you're staring at an android and a half-dead guy.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure you can appreciate how it is to not be entirely understood.
not a clue what you mean. He gives a massive shaking grin at that. Relatedly, though,
Holds data pad up.
yeah, I've been looking at some stuff I picked up. Pauses for a little bit too long. A few years ago, And how are you with Yaxian?
I like the idea that maybe we fade out on that line because that's quite good.
Yep.
They got anything very crucial they want to do in their couple of days' time? Because I think we'll do a flashback with Emmeline next time we've got her as well, just in case there's anything she wants to checkpoint in here. And since you do have 4 days to play with. But unless you have anything else, I wouldn't mind jumping back to present time. But if you do, feel free to.
Nah, no really.
I'm good.
I think that covers it.
Yeah. I think then, as it fades, how is your Eoxian?
That's a nice place to leave it, isn't
yeah,
it?
like that fades out. It kind of like cuts to Alice in the cargo bay A, and goes, "I have a friend," and she just smiles, and then it cuts, and then we zoom all the way back to present timeline, which is also sorry Nick at home who's maybe struggling to follow the time jumps. I know we spoke in work briefly about this today. Moving on, we're back in the really opulent room with Mr. Edgar Wesland, and then as everyone's sat down, and he then steps down into the seating area and goes, "I'm thirsty," and he kind of looks over everyone out like the windows behind him, and then kind of stares, holding like a cigarette kind of halfway like towards his chest, and it's that like 2 seconds longer than is comfortable to be quiet, as if he's waiting on one of you to answer, and then he goes, "Does anyone want a drink?"
I would shake my head, no thank you.
I would appreciate some water.
Yeah, what you got?
And he kind of
Zigg just raises a hand.
but just from behind like the pit, you
Yeah.
just see the hand come up, the little right hand, and then as you go, "What have you got?" you just see this really big grin appear on his face, like he got the answer he was looking for, and he kind of like, points his finger at you and goes, "You, I like," and then he takes a draw on his e-cig, and he goes, and he exhales all the vapor and goes, "So, I have the latest bottle of Spin." And he just stares at you. And then he's like, "Now,
Do I recognize that name?
here's some cultural background for everyone. Spin is a very expensive drink in the galaxy. Most people can't afford it. A bottle costs just shy of 4,000 credits
Oh, well.
for a bottle.
Ooh.
And he's like, you can clearly tell he's obviously got his hands on one, and he's been desperate for someone to be like, "Can I have a drink?" so he can say he has one.
Yeah.
That's that grin he's got, where yes, you've triggered.
We would
the-
probably
yeah.
all recognize the name then.
Yeah, like anyone that knows anything about alcohol, Spin is like one of the top
I would know
brands. Yeah, it's something that maybe your bar couldn't afford to stock as well.
Yeah.
The one you worked in previously as the bouncer. But yeah, so he smirks, and he's like, "Good." He then just like turns and walks back up the steps and heads over to like the mini bar area that's in the corner of the room. He's like, "Can I get anyone else a drink?"
Zigg's hand's
Yes.
still aloft.
I mean, he hasn't acknowledged it. He's mostly just focused
know.
on the fact that Lyko was excited about alcohol.
As I said, water will suffice.
And he kind of
I would
like
shake my
dismisses
head.
his hand over his shoulder at your voice, Nix.
Say no thank you.
Like, you don't know what you're missing out on. Oh, and then he kind of like, he shivers a little as he's at the table. Then he like lifts this very kind of like, it's very odd. It looks like it's almost like, what's the best way to describe it? It's like a chicken claw, the way that like it's got the leg of the like the foot of the chicken, and it splits into like 3 or 4 like kind of claws or talons. The bottle's shaped not too dissimilarly, like some kind of thing's talon or claw, and it's got like a reddish liquid in it. And he lifts it out, and he lifts up some glasses and walks over, right back, and then sits down next to you and hands you the glasses, both of them, Lyko. And then he looks over at Nix and goes, "Yes, the water is in the crystal jug," and he kind of just points dismissively at the minibar at you. basically
I go
implying you can just go and do it yourself.
I go and help myself.
And then he kind of holds the bottle, like above the two glasses, and he's like, "Look how pretty it is." And you can kind of look, like, as you're looking at the bottle, it's this red liquid, but it's not clear like what we would see like as alcohol, or even like a liqueur. It's not like that. You look into it, and it's got like layers of depth to it, almost like hypnotic when you're looking at it, almost lava-esque as well. That kind of color and slight glow from it. And then he like goes to twist the top and opens it, and you can hear like the hiss of steam almost come out of it. And then as soon as he does that, everybody in the room can smell this really, really sickly sweet aroma. Like as if you were had like maybe burnt sugar, you know, into like that almost sweet caramel. And he kind of lets that hang in the air for a bit, and he just kind of like, you can see him kind of like almost like breathing it in. He goes, nectar of the, and he goes to say gods, but then he just kind of stops himself, because that was like the phrase everybody knows, nectar of the gods. And he goes, nectar of the, yes. And then he kind of licks his lips, and then he pours a glass each, and it hits the glass with a hiss. And then he seals it up, and kind of looks like almost sad at the fact that he's sealing it up, and then he sits on the floor next to him. And then he picks up the two glasses from you, and he looks at him and goes, "This is 3,996 credits a bottle. Please enjoy this. It's more of a command than a request." Hands you the glass cup, and then he clinks it with you. "To a job well done," and clinks. What does Lyko do?
I will, having toasted with him, I will like just raise it up to just below my nose and sort of inhale deeply.
Mm-hmm.
Closing my eyes as appropriate to show that I'm really focused on the smell of this drink. And
yeah, he's already like finished his by the time you're doing that. Like he's just swigged it, and you can just see him like that thing where like he's got his like right eye closed and his cheeks pinching a little, and he's like,
I take a gulp and make it very obvious that I'm enjoying it greatly. I don't know. What does it taste like?
A fortitude save. That's what it tastes like.
A fortitude save. Nice.
To drink,
fancy
drinking spin.
Booze. Fortitude. Right. Drinking spin would be clearer. Right. Let me just get my sheet ready. This is the new one I've got. Yes.
Oh.
Fancy new one, which Alex can lead.
Why are there two?
Why are there two indeed? Because my mouse is double things when I don't mean it to. Shall I roll again?
No, that's fine. I'll just take the first one. That's easy enough to filter.
13.
Yeah, so you get a 13. Yeah, like for a second, everything goes black, and like you have just this burning, you've just drank lava vibe. Which is maybe a similar taste to like maybe if you've been shot with a laser pistol anywhere near the head. Like that kind of vibe of very uncomfortable heat, like maybe ash as an aftertaste. But then as like you kind of shake it off, like maybe like 10 or so seconds later, so something very obvious to everybody else that you're a bit out of it with this, like someone that's never drank alcohol or someone that's maybe smoked something slightly less than legal everywhere. And they're not quite expecting the hit, as it were. You kind of come to, and then you're just left with this really kind of sickly, sweet, almost like you've just licked a toffee apple taste on your tongue. But it stays there and it tingles, and you're like, but it does leave you wanting more.
Yeah.
And it's overall like it's probably quite a pleasant experience, because it's one of these things where like a glass of this could probably just floor you. Like in an establishment, shall we say?
I'd visibly recover myself and sort of, wow, that's, my lord, that is potent. Wait, would my lord exist as a phrase?
That'll do,
probably. There are various lords.
Yeah, there's lots of them.
Most generous, Mr. Wesley.
And he lifts up the bottle again. And then he kind of looks at you. And he's like, well, there are only 6 glasses in each bottle. And he kind of looks up at the, now what looks like there's a third, 2/3 left of it. And kind of like sits the glass, takes it back off you with like his fingers in one hand, lifts up the bottle and walks back over to the minibar and sits it all back. He's like, thank you for that. That was worth every penny. Although it's probably worth every credit, right? Is the phrase probably.
It is a sci-fi setting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Worth every credit. Sure I can't tempt anyone else? And he smirks from the minibar.
Kind of just shake my head.
Zigg's hand hasn't moved, by the way. Just
Yeah, like I mean, like
just for.
yeah, he definitely hasn't like noticed. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if Nick's got you a glass of water or not when he was off getting himself one.
Not if he hasn't asked for one.
Yeah, he's probably just got his hand up.
Yeah, that's it.
And then Edgar walks back to the seating area, sits back down, and like looks a lot more relaxed now. Like he's got his arms over the back of the sofa and things. He's got his e-cig kind of hanging off his fingers, and he's like, "So, I'm dying to hear the details. How did you earn my credits this time?" And he kind of like, jovially aims this at Zora.
I would kind of grunt when he said that. Says, well, wasn't so simple this time, I'm afraid.
I don't pay you for simple.
Well, when we arrived on the station, we were greeted by an AI. We managed to sign the cargo off with said AI.
As you're speaking as well, like he goes into his pocket and like offers an e-cig to Lyko. Just because you sat next to Lyko, and he just kind of absentmindly gestures you to have one as well.
Ooh, that's a good question. Do I ingratiate myself by taking it? Yes, I suppose I probably would.
Yeah, so it was like a black almost case that opens, and it had 3 sticks in it that were all black kind of sticks, and he's obviously at 1, so there's 2 left, and he offers you one, and it obviously detaches the little hiss. And then obviously carry on, Zora, because while you're doing this is what he does.
I mean, while he's offering him a cig, actually, I would probably look at my pocket. Probably, I don't know, can I have a cigar? Please tell me I could just have a cigar. I'll give you credits, I've got 5 credits. I'll buy a cigar.
Yeah, I mean you can have a cigar, yeah.
Right, cool. I'm gonna whip out a cigar.
Like an analog cigar though, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel bad for your health, man.
Yes, I mean, hey, I don't care. I'm already an old lizard.
Yeah.
I've been through wars.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, he did say you're his second favourite war hero.
yeah. So.
I think then as you do that, like so you're describing the station, do you get the cigar before or just as he's offering the cigarette to Lyko?
As he's offering, I'd probably whip it and I'd kind of like hold it up as if like it's alright to like light an actual real man's.
He clicks his fingers and the tip of the cigar lights.
Oh, okay.
You just hear like a visible snap, and then from the tip of the cigar there's like a kind of very specific smell, like a very like burnt kind of smell that comes off of it. Not just like anything not like a kind of burnt wood smell or anything, but there's a kind of there's a deeper level to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's lit the cigar for you.
Oh,
And he kind of gestures with his hand like towards you as if carry on and carry on,
Yeah. So I would kind of start puffing it and I'd be like, so where was I?
This couldn't be a more Mad Men scene if I could try, would it? Like, I mean...
May as well. Right. You see, there was a problem on the station.
His eyes narrow. And he takes a draw of his e-cig and goes, "Problem," as all the vapour pours out of his mouth as he says "problem."
Indeed. After signing off the cargo, we found that the rest of the crew had turned into some kind of energy-based plasmoids.
Did you see his face screw up at the phrase energy-based plasmoids? And he's like, I mean, obviously this is the first time Zigg's hearing this as well, right?
Yeah,
So-
he kind of just sits up, goes like has his head sort of off to the side.
And you hear him just say, "Go on," and he kind of like looks over to you, Lyko, like for affirmation in a way.
I would nod.
Have you taken a draw of D-Sig yet?
Sure. Yes. Let's say I have.
Cool. You know, like when you, I guess what's the best way to phrase this? It kind of feels like you've just brushed your teeth with like the most mintiest, coldest kind of feeling, like maybe almost like spearminty type cold. Like when you take
menthol cigarettes.
like I don't know because I've never
But cold.
smoked them. It's
I
actually
have.
it's,
Nice.
it's very cold more than minty though. I just mean the sensation of the tingle from the mint. It's kind of like you're smoking ice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting sensation. Which I
After the
enjoy.
drink, definitely. It's almost like the two complement each other very well.
Almost like he's done this before.
It's almost like he's got a way of living, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's that sensation. Obviously Zigg sat up and then Zora said there's problems and plasmoids.
I would say, maybe not the technical term, but yeah.
Best description I've got.
That's pretty close to what they were.
How did this happen?
We were forced to look into the matter further, and well, I mean, I was split off from the crew at this
He
point.
puts his hand
so
up to
I
like
guess-
stop. He's like, "What forced you?"
The AI wanted us to deliver to. Who was it initially wanted us to speak to?
the manager of the station. We don't know the name. We never managed to meet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, I was quite confused about how to get there. It wouldn't release the. I was going to say docks. What's the proper term? Bay.
Yeah.
It wouldn't release the bay immediately. Quite a strange situation.
Indeed.
Captain-
And he kind of nods over his cigarette.
Captain, while you were away, we encountered some of us, and I believe we had encountered in the journey beforehand psychic phenomena. I don't believe you experienced any such thing yourself.
Yeah, I would nod in agreement.
I have to assume that was related to whatever had caused what happened to the crew.
Yeah. I would keep on nodding. Nodding, sorry. Either way, it was all very strange. We can't exactly explain what happened, but on the way to management, we found that it was too late, and basically the whole crew had been turned into these things.
I see.
As we further inspected the situation to try and restore enough power to open up the cargo doors so we could escape the station, the rest of my crew came across a cocoon crystalline like entity.
His
He
eyebrow
would
goes
get
back
their
up.
look towards Nyx and Lyko, like confused because he's still not entirely sure about that situation himself. He's like, well,
We entered the science bay that contained Project Aurora and deemed that to be the origin of whatever incident caused the demise of the crew.
He puts his hand up and he's like, "One moment." And then he kind of like gestures to the window and the windows all go black. Like you could have seen outside to like the bustle of the Absalom station out from the view from obviously the Aspis Consortium building. And he's like, I think we might be dangerously close to breaching a lot of laws if we carry on this conversation, so... And he kind of stops and then like takes another draw of his e-cig and goes, continue, as if he was lost in thought there. But he's now like got his cigarette up at his mouth, but he's got his thumb on his lips and the cigarette's between his like index finger and middle finger, and he's kind of just like looking down at the fire pit as he's asked you to continue.
For future reference, I would probably address Emlyn about the psychic phenomena at this point, but I will just insert a line about, you know, it was definitely the source of, it was definitely the source of whatever the psychic phenomenon that we were feeling affected by was.
And having ascertained that as the source, we conclude our investigations, and the AI released the bay doors.
That was very good of it.
It was... I sort of looked next. An unusual AI.
He leans back as if kind of brought out of his thought and goes, how so? Takes another draw on his e-cig and you see the little LED, the blue LED, and then glow again. Maybe it's the only thing you see through the vapour as well as the glow.
Confused.
Didn't
Uncertain.
seem to be functioning properly.
It was disorientated
Do
and
we
had been
believe...
reset.
Was this related to whatever caused the crew to, as you say, and he doesn't utter the words you...
Because he doesn't want to fail his target.
The whole station was being interfered with, so
interfered.
Sorry.
So he says just interfered and leaves that word hanging. As if it's very accusatorial? Yeah, that'll do. Accusatorial.
The Project Aurora was interfering with the stability of the station. It's reasonable to assume that it was affecting the core of the artificial intelligence.
Whatever the case, the AI itself couldn't tell us. Its records seem to be largely wiped.
He like stands up at this and kind of like just starts pacing in the little bit of like the little semicircle that he's got at one side of the sofa. He's like, were you able to recover anything?
unfortunately not. So
And he starts to like
It was
walk up the
medical
steps, like, and heads to the windows and just kind of like goes up to the windows and puts like one hand on like the big glass wall that he's got that's all black now, as if he's looking out of it even though it's all black. You can just like, we see his reflection and then the blue glow from the e-cig up at his lips, and he goes, unfortunate, but possibly for the best. He turns round very quickly with a smile and goes, I'm very pleased to see you all unharmed from such an ordeal.
Not wholly unharmed.
Oh?
I look over to Emlyn. But we survived.
Like, I think he catches like the exchange and the glance, you know? And I think also because of what Lyko would have said earlier about the psychic phenomena as well. Like, he's obviously clearly aware there's more to this in terms of Emlyn's participation, but he doesn't probe further because Emlyn's not here to defend herself. He kind of narrows out and goes, did you manage to complete the job? He kind of says flippantly.
Zora would nod and hand over the datapad.
Yeah, sure.
This is the datapad, yes, the datapad that we've retroactively got Alice to sign and took before we left the ship.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, she was happy to do it as soon as she was on Absalom, so as soon as you guys landed and docked with the autodock, she was like, okay, cool, we're here now, I'll fulfill my end of the bargain.
Actually, will there be any dating on that? Of when she signed it?
Yes.
Would it have been possible for us to forge the dating?
Tell you what, how about you give me a reroll?
Would that be a computer's?
So just forging the date or whatever I'm gonna phrase that as.
Forging date.
Not bad.
There you go.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, like you're reasonably confident that I'd have said that to any roll you made though, but you're reasonably confident that that'll do. You know, you basically went into the modify file part. You've created date to whatever.
So not today.
Yeah. Well, you know, like anything 4 days. To be fair, like drift travel's jank anyway. So
Yeah,
yeah,
just backdated.
the before now times is good enough. But yeah, when do you set it for?
I'd probably just set it for 4 days.
So
Right.
basically, just like before you's left, essentially. So while you's actually were still on the station.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's fine. Yep. So yeah, he picks up the data pad from Zora. He's kind of like maybe Zora's standing, or sorry, Zora's sitting like at the very back of the semicircle. Excuse me, the two semicircles. And he's at the top of the stairs at the back, across from the doors. And he leans down and picks up the, because I mean Zora's pretty tall anyway. So like he leans down and picks up the data pad, and then he kind of casually glances at it, and then just tosses it to the side. It just literally scouts across the floor. And then someone you've never actually noticed was in the room, but there's an attendant at the wall that runs forward and quickly picks it up and then goes back to the wall. And you now realise that this place actually has, like, there's 4 people, 2 on each side, that are servants that have been in the room the whole time. And he then clicks his fingers, and one of the other ones runs towards him with like a kind of almost like a disk drive thing. Not a disk drive, but like a pen drive, I should say. It's got like the Aspis Consortium kind of logo on it. And he smirks and goes, well, standard fee, I guess. He's like, 5k for delivery, and 10k hazard pay for the location, of course. And he goes to hand you the drive with the money on it, the credits.
Mm-hmm. Take it.
As you go to like take it, he like flicks his wrist back so you can't grab it. And he goes, or, and takes a draw of his cigarette and breathes it out. Could give you 20,000 credits of Aspis Consortium funds. And then he takes in a big draw of the cigarette and kind of smirks, and the blue LED glows as he's holding up the pen drive. What would you prefer?
Before you do anything, may I make a roll?
Sure.
Because that was suspicious. So can I therefore attempt to sense motive in that?
To what end?
Well, what is he getting at? How doubtful of us has he been throughout this little exchange? You know, did anything in his body language perhaps hint that he wasn't fully believing our story?
Right, okay.
And therefore, is this offer somehow suspect?
Cool, yeah.
What's Wesland up to?
That's a lot of detail you're looking for one roll though, but yeah, sure.
But yeah, just
Yeah.
anything that would incline me to distrust him, basically. So, what's Wesland up to? And
Imagine that was
motive.
the literal translation of what you wanted as well, was what's Westland up to? Well,
and
he's...
there's probably a negative for inebriation and that.
Oofed. Inebriation.
Still breathing.
Oh dear. Yeah, hashtag inebriation. It should be chapter 2's title. Right, okay, yeah. So, as you kind of like try and scan the situation, get a vibe for it, through the haze of sickly sweet, he doesn't really seem that interested in a lot of the details you guys have given him. You'll get that much, like, things he cared about. When you mentioned Project Aurora, that was very obviously his entire body language shifted to the point where he was like, no, stop. He sealed the visual element of the room. Obviously don't necessarily know what else happened, but he at least turned the windows opaque. And then that was the only thing he really cared about, was that phrase, Project Aurora. Besides that, he doesn't really actually, like, even though he's saying, oh, really? What's this? When people are just bullshitting because of various time in the stewards that you spent, the Space
Yeah.
Cops time, and interviewing people, and you probably had to deal with a lot of scummy people higher up in corporate sleaziness as well. And this guy is the type of person that you know that you would just never trust a single word because you know everything's like a script, basically. But none of his like, oh really, a problem is I'm so pleased everyone's okay. Like, it's not that he doesn't believe what he's saying. It's just you know that it's almost hollow. Like, he would have said that to anyone. But as
Yeah.
for distrust, I don't know if you've ever trusted him, right?
Yeah, well, that's largely true.
given,
Trusted
like,
enough to take jobs from him. But
You know that you've probably had to lose the legal battle a lot with Aspis Consortium in your previous life.
Yeah.
So you know that anytime anything like, you pull over this bank robbery type thing, and this guy works for Aspis, it turns out, and he's got ties to them, but then you put him away, but he doesn't go away because he gets out. But there's no reason why. It's like, oh, this wasn't filed correctly, so you can't arrest him. All complete jank that got people away with stuff. So while this is useful to you now, I don't think you've ever necessarily went in trusting Aspis. Whether or not you trust Edgar is completely different, because he doesn't look to be misleading you. You can just tell he doesn't really care. He's kind of being polite.
okay.
Like, he wants to hear the story you want to tell, and then he wants to get the thing that lets him either pay you or not pay you, which was the datapad, and then he's offered money, but he's also offered more money of a different currency. And that's all you've got.
Cool.
Mm.
I wouldn't do anything with that particularly now. I'm not going to interrupt or anything, but
To be a bit more clear as well, in case anyone's confused, he's essentially offering you credit you can only spend with Aspis.
Do we know anything about Aspis being particularly expensive?
They mostly deal in weapons. So you'd be hard pushed to get anything that isn't weaponry.
Bigger guns.
it's tempting then.
So it's literally money to spend on anything, or more money to spend only on weapons. Yeah, and the Vesk has the choice. Because they aimed it. I mean, you just can all lobby Zora right now, right? Because he's kind of waiting for Zora's answer.
Normal money. I mean, unless you really want new weapons. Like,
Oh, are you saying this to them? Because we're in game now.
I mean,
So he pulls his wrist back and kind of smirks as he says that and waits for your response. What does Zora say?
I guess I'll just kind of sigh at you, just like remark, kind of like towards like the rest of the group, like, is it like real money? Like,
He scoffs at the phrase real money but doesn't say anything.
Well, I wouldn't be averse to some Aspis technology.
I mean, they generally cater to our needs, do they not?
And you just hear him say, I try, and smiles at you.
Would they also cover some augmentations?
I mean, you don't know.
And,
Have you ever bought from them before,
Not sure.
Probably haven't, given your background of scavenging and
Yep.
stuff, right?
Yeah,
They were probably more pricey, so you probably don't really know what they sell. Mostly, they're weapons dealers.
I mean, weapons are good.
Get used to this, Alex. This is my forte of giving players decisions that may or may not be good.
Well,
Zig's just darting between everyone as they speak. But he's not actually contributing.
it does occur to me that we will need to cover the ship's maintenance.
I would nod.
And he looks down at between the two of you, between Nix and between Zora, and goes, "What are you flying these days? Still that hunk of junk?"
Hey, that hunk of junk's done us proud.
Cue swear words from Emmeline as well.
Yeah, we'll checkpoint Emmeline's response there about the ship being called a hunk of junk.
Please post in the comments, Olga.
Hashtag Olga's precious. So yeah, done as proud, ... But yeah, what's your consensus on the payment? Aspis credit or actual just credits, universal credits.
I feel like real money's kind of like handy. But, yeah. I mean, like,
But that's a significant amount of extra money.
Yeah, it's 15k real money, as you say,
fact,
or 20k Aspis credit.
weapons. Okay, we'll
That
take
could be
weapons.
one 20k weapon, right?
Why not?
Or out of character, I'm actually starting to lean towards the normal standard credits.
Why is that?
It's for the simple reason of A, the flexibility, and B, if we don't fully trust this company, sure, buy weapons from them, but are we going to want to buy, say they do sell ship parts? You know, what if something gives them access to our files or scanners or something?
Like that
I wouldn't
AI you
allow
left
that.
on your ship alone.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah, that's true.
I like it.
Caution.
Oops.
You mean boops?
Or,
Boh.
We can check the parts before we install them.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, you could install them all yourself. It would take a long bit of time and probably effort and a workspace. But yeah, could always rent that from Aspis, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're going to probably want us to continue working for them, so I don't know that they'd screw us over.
And I mean, Lyko's got no reason to not trust Edgar based on what he said to you guys. He just wouldn't trust who Edgar works for, right? Is the gist I was trying to say earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, good people can work for shady companies. It's just unlikely.
also, the company might not actually bear us any particular ill will, but it might still think there's no reason not to spy on these people.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to bring them stories about space cocoons and group of people, yeah. You know?
All true.
Crazy psychic stories. We went there and everybody was not there. So we looked around and stole things that we didn't take.
It was for the best.
So yeah, what's the decision here, gang?
I mean, I'd vote for the 20,000 because that's a big number.
That's a bigger number.
It's a bigger number.
Okay, so does anyone actually say anything to Zora though? As Zora looks around the seating circle.
Probably just shrug.
I mean, keep in mind,
Yeah.
Lyko, that 15,000 credits could buy several bottles of spin.
Yes, true. I don't know that he's going to necessarily repeat that experience too often. I don't think Lyko would speak up. Partly just because it's really the captain's choice in his mind.
Yeah, I think Nick's would leave it to the
Yeah.
captain.
I think Emlyn also leaves it to the captain. She probably does mention about the part that if you can get more money for the ship, she's probably going to vote that way. Sorry, Olka, I'm RPing your character, but I feel like you would want money for the ship.
Here's a question.
Okay, here we go.
What is there any so? What would be like the negotiation role? You know, like
Why don't we learn?
because I would like to know this.
Going to the
It would probably be...
diplomacy.
Diplomacy?
Let's see what it says under diplomacy, because I feel like it would probably cover it, right? Diplomacy. Change in attitude. Gather information, no. I mean, is it though? It doesn't look like that, does it? Hmm. Wow, they really are quite lacking in the skills. I mean, diplomacy is probably a good shout since I can't really see anything else that would really cover it. I mean, profession, obviously, for negotiator, but I don't see anything specific in that.
No. I guess you could say it's trying to change their attitude to be more helpful.
That's quite a mechanical thing, though.
Yeah.
And this, I'm just trying to read over quickly diplomacy from the book. And quickly scan through the rest to see if anything else goes into a bit more detail. Because Persuade is not one that I thought it would have been. Definitely think it's lacking heavily in the... let's see quickly. Yeah, let's just go with Diplomacy, it's the closest fit.
Okay.
So what are you trying to
So-
achieve?
I'll kind of turn around to him and say, tell you what, how about we call it 15,000 Aspis and you give us 7,000, sorry, for like repairs and maintenance. It was a dangerous job.
I thought you were left unscathed.
Well, I mean, not entirely. Those things screwed up some of our equipment.
You get 5,000 credits for the job, the delivery. 10,000 was for hazard pay. And I hand you the cred stick.
Oh.
And he steps away. And kind of goes back to the windows and kind of like waves his hand over them, and they all kind of clear up.
Okay.
And he sees out the windows, and there's a kind of like slightly chill reception.
Okay.
How do you respond to that?
Um.
And I think it's the phrasing, right? So I'll give you a bit more insight into that. Like the phrasing was, you were already given hazard pay, which was twice the actual payment of the job, and you've just told them you want more money for the job that you've already agreed to.
Okay. Right. Okay. I didn't catch the fact that it was double the pay already.
Well, I said 5k for the job and then 10k hazard pay.
Oh, okay. Didn't catch that part.
What about secrecy money?
Well, I guess I'll just pick up the chips of the normal payment.
So yeah, he's kind of like standing staring at the windows, kind of smoking his e-cig.
Say, well, very well, sir. If there's anything else.
There is. Take a seat.
Oh my god.
Because I think you stood up, obviously, to be like, very well, sir. You know,
Yeah.
and he's obviously can see that in the reflection of the glass. And he turns around, and then he kind of just looks at the people around the room, and then they all just leave really quickly through the double doors and close them behind them. And he kind of waves his hand over his shoulder, and the windows go black again. And he says, "You obviously want more money." "Yes." And he says that with like quite a bit of venom to you, Zora.
Fair. Well, I mean, running this business is cheap.
"Yes, you're mercenaries, I understand."
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of like nods once. Yeah. And he goes, "I have other situations at play." And he kind of looks over everybody. And he kind of like looks down at Zigg briefly. And kind of like, that's when like his face
His nose
kinda,
twitches.
yeah, like I think his nose twitches a bit as well. Like it's the only kind of expression break that he has, because he's still not really sure how to take you. Because he's like maybe he hasn't met you before, and then, but you know he's used to strange crew members appearing with this lot, and then he kind of takes a draw of his e-cig and kind of like blows smoke, almost as if to obfuscate you from his vision, and then he looks back at Zora and goes, "How brave are you?" And then maybe he stops and goes, "How brave are your pockets?" Takes a draw of his e-cig and kind of like smirks at himself as he's taking the draw.
Probably.
Basically, he's questioning your bravery.
I mean, I would probably just kind of snigger at it. Like, I'm probably not going. Doesn't want a reply. Quite frankly, like this guy's probably not even seen a gun pointed at him. like, he don't know a thing.
I mean, you don't have any weapons on you to draw, so
I'm a weapon.
That is true. Like, you kind of all are, I guess. I know. So yeah. What's
yeah, I
your
would
response?
snigger at that. Just, I like, yeah, I'd snigger. I probably wouldn't even reply to that part.
He starts to like walk forward towards you. Alright, did you sit down when he told you to, or did you stay standing?
Yeah, I sat down.
I think he steps like where Zigg is. He kind of steps over Zigg and takes a seat. So, yeah, like he's kind of sat at the other side of the stairwell, facing the windows, like with his back to the windows, I should say. And then he sits down, and then kind of waves his hand over the fire pit, and then it like projects like a screen to everyone. And he sits and goes, "I'm looking for someone. Maybe yous can help. Are yous good at finding people?" He kind of looks around at you all. He doesn't look down at Zigg.
I smile.
He just
Sure
kind
we
of
can.
it just takes in the measure of the group. So he goes, "I'm sure we can." He goes, "Okay. Now, don't take insult to this," and he stares at you, Zora. "But I haven't been able to find this person." And he kind of like just stares at you, as if that implies everything it should.
Maybe you did a bit more of a direct approach.
Yes, maybe. And then he kind of dismisses the screens, and he kind of holds his hand out from dismissing them, and it makes a fist and goes, "If I carry this conversation on any further, yous are committed to the job. This is rather sensitive, yes, sensitive, and I would hate to have to alter anyone's memory." And he kind of like gestures vaguely with both hands out to the side.
Is there a time frame? Or is that something you couldn't discuss?
He smirks and goes, "I think that's why I like you. You ask the right questions." He looks at Zora quickly, and then back to Lyko.
I smile back.
"Sooner is better than later. Later is unproductive and unprofitable. Sooner is efficient." And he kind of like rolls his cigarette forward in the air, and it makes like vapory wisps. And he kind of like leaves it hanging there. He goes,
Okay.
he turns to Zora and goes, "I have another job." And he takes a draw of the e-cig, and then kind of holds the vapor in, and then just kind of breathes it out in like a big kind of almost. I mean, if a dragon was breathing out, it'd be like a big kind of vapory burst thing right over Zora. And it's that cool, almost minty, kind of ice cold wind that kind of hits your face. And he goes, "Have you ever been to Triaxis?" It's the dragon run planet. Just so you know.
Can't say
Nope.
I have.
I think when you say no,
think it's
Zigg, under
probably
his
one that
feet,
was
he
slightly
actually like
more-
looks a bit shocked at the voice coming from beneath him. And maybe he just shimmies
Zig
up.
kind of cocks his head to like the left and just looks at him.
Yeah, I think he just like shimmies it along the couch away from you. But while still holding the conversation with everyone else, as if keeping composure. What were you saying, Lyko?
I'm imagining that's probably one of the planets we'd have less involvement in.
Yeah, like dragons do dragon stuff,
Yeah,
right?
because dragons. We're not going to place the dragons. But who watches the dragons? Anyway,
The
so
Coast
yeah,
Guard,
I
you know
would
that.
probably, Custodia ipsos Coast Guard. That's not even remotely Latin. Ignore that. Audience, ignore that. Anyway, yeah, I'd probably just shake my head.
Nix, are you replying in any way?
No, I just hope they take my silence as
Okay.
the fact that I've not been there.
Was there any more response from Zigg?
Nope.
Okay, Zora?
Just still looking at him.
Sort of just shake his head. I've heard of it, but never been myself.
His eyes kind of narrow as like none of you seem to know about it. He's like, maybe that's for the best. He kind of like takes another draw and he goes, do you know about the Black Dragon's problems? And he kind of laughs and goes, well, of course you just don't know about Triaxis. And he kind of like, almost mockingly, kind of has a go at the party that way. And he goes, maybe that one's a bit above your pay grade. Needless to say, the Black Dragon's in a lot of financial problems. That's of interest to us. And he kind of grins, but it's like a proper like predatorial grin this time where he shows a lot of teeth. And then he looks down and goes, yes, this missing person, yes. And he kind of waves his hand up at the fire pit and the screens appear again. And on the screen you get an image appear. Let's see. There you go.
Okay.
As if by magic. This is an agent of... And he kind of like pauses and he's like, Abadar Corp. And takes a draw on his e-cig. Her name is Agent S. Kate Isabel Furler. Or Furler is the actual pronunciation. And he goes, and kind of like, you can see like he does not like the look of this person at all. Like he's like staring, like with quite a lot of, I mean, he's not even trying to hide it. He looks quite angry. And he takes like a draw, and you can see like his fingers have gone a bit white as he's gripping like the cigarette tighter and things. And takes a draw, and then just kind of like breathes it out very slowly through his nostrils this time. And then he looks up and he goes, she's missing. Can you find her?
Zigg points at the screen.
And he leans down and goes, is your vision addled? And he's quite close to you, like he's quite near your snout.
Kind of take a few steps back. And
He
point out
smirks like
towards
as you
Zora.
like as you take a few steps back, he kind of like smirks because he's quite pleased that you were somewhat intimidated.
Yeah, I think he scurries over towards where Zora is and just kind of sits next to him.
Does that thing that children do where they climb up on couches?
Yeah.
Beloved medkit.
I'm ready, kid.
I look mortified. With this.
And he like sits back up
From
on the
the
seat.
medkit.
So he sits back up on the seat and he looks at the group. Well, is this above your pay grade as well?
Depends. What sort of info do you have about her? Like, when was she last seen?
He's not going to give us that unless we accept.
Where could she have gone?
Where
Like,
could she have gone?
where-
1 second, Zora. Let me think. That's why I'm hoping to pay you.
like,
He looks
where
like
was she
so
last
like
seen?
shocked. Like it's like faux shock, of course, but yeah.
We need somewhere to start.
Exactly. And he like points at you with the cigarette hand. And he's like, don't we need somewhere to start?
Can we start with why is Apsis interested in an agent of Abadar?
No. And he just,
I
like,
just mean, is this likely to get us in trouble with Abadar?
are you in trouble with Abadar?
Not yet, but if we go and cause some issues with one of their agents, they may not take kindly to.
I merely asked you to locate the individual.
And once we've located her,
Tell me where she is. Exactly.
okay.
Takes a draw of the e-cig. He's like, there is a... He kind of like narrows his eyes, goes, so, the screens like vanish. You may all close those if you wish, or keep them open. It's up to you. He looks around. Agent S. Kate, as he kind of like does that through like gritted teeth, as if it displeases him to even say it. She's caused trouble for Aspis Consortium and Associates. He kind of gestures to you, since you are now technically associates of Aspis. And he goes, no end of trouble. And she is an agent of Abadar Corp, the Church of Abadar. I assume you've all heard of it. It's the church that regulates the entire banking system of the galaxy. Just so she's know. Please look it up out with the game. It's in the settings section. Church of Abadar.
If you want to get rich, that's where you go.
Yeah, pretty much. So he takes a draw on the... so he goes, locate her, give me accurate intel. I'll give you 50,000 credits, no strings. Capture her. Bring her here. And he kind of like gestures vaguely that like the vapor makes wisps again in circles, and he's like, harmed, unharmed, as long as she can still speak. I don't really care what condition she arrives in, but if you can capture her, I'll give you 500,000 credits. And you just hear
Zigg's eyes light up.
like he just exhales all this vapor again.
Captain, I'd be inclined to take that job.
I would nod.
I think
We'll see what we can do.
let's end it on I'll be inclined to take that job because I think that's quite good. Unless you have anything specific you really want to add to the scene.
Nope.
Nope.
And then, yeah, well, we'll officially stop the session there. Yeah, good. Thanks for listening so far, Nick and Olka, hopefully. Essentially, I'm just going to take from that you'll probably have signed up to do said locating mission.
Yes.
50k is a lot of money for someone, just to find them. And in fact, no. Tell you what, we're going to do a cinematic. We'll do a cut and we'll flash back. Right? We're not finished. Sorry, everyone that's already bailed. Come back.
Come back! Come back!
So, yeah, we go back, and maybe you are leaving the offices, like for the front doors of the Aspis Consortium. You aren't limoed out this time, sadly through like the cool garage, but you are escorted to the front, and you've got like Associate Bradlin Button waiting. She's there, very suited and booted, and she's like, "I hope your meeting was very productive," and she tries to look as pleased and like polite as possible. And then she gestures to the limo that's nearby as if it's been out front waiting for you. Almost as if they want it to be obvious you guys are getting into a limo and leaving Aspis Consortium. You know? Like before you were just picked up from the park and taken in the cool logo that opened up and you went inside to the garage. This is now you have been escorted out the front of the building and put into one of their limos. Which again, having transport within the station is quite rare, just because of the space involved. So yeah. You all get in the limo. As I said, we can do flashbacks and we'll cover whatever you really want to see at the end of that meeting, if need be. Yeah, you all get in the limo, and then where do you tell the limo to go?
Simply to a renowned weapons merchant.
So
if we're going to gear up for a mission.
Okay, so just the market district then, yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever that is on the station, because I have no idea, but I'll look that up.
Probably best not to go directly to the
At the ship.
yeah, since we do have an AI on board that we can't entirely trust not to be just standing there.
Or away with your ship, right? So
I mean, there's also that.
I'm learning to fly. Anyway, so yeah, you all get in a limo. One of those fancy limos. That's the whole side panel like slides open, cool, kind of swishy doors. You just get in, and then she gets in and she goes, "I've been asked and tasked." She kind of like awkwardly says to assist you with your needs while on Absalom. She kind of nods very, very curtly. Yes, it's like the limo like hovers up and starts flying off, and you have said take us to the like the market district and whatnot. And then she goes, "Is there anything I can assist with?" She's kind of mostly looking at you, Zora.
No, that'll be fine. We'll be mostly dealing with just getting set up for the job, next job.
Oh, good. I'm sure you can't talk about the details, though. And she puts like her hand up. You can tell she's telling you not to talk about the details. More so than her being polite that way, if that makes sense. She's aware that if you tell her, she'll probably just be killed.
Just tell her and make her complicit.
As she says it, and she puts like her hand up, you hear a tearing sound, and a big blade comes right out of her chest, right halfway into like the limo, and the entire limo is like kind of like lit from this blade, which is like made of white light. And then she just like drools blood, and starts to burn from where the blades pierced her. And then the limo, you hear like this tearing, piercing noise, and all these blades of light start to like pierce the limo, and the whole thing like shakes and falls to the ground with like a thud, and the ground loosely, you know what I mean, the station floor. You guys are smacked about inside. It is not comfortable. It is very uncomfortable, but for the sake of efficiency and time, we're not rolling anything to not be absolutely messed up. And then more kind of blades of light pierce in throughout, like just as if, again, like some horrible kind of game of Kerplunk, really. And then it tears open. And there's there's a wonderful visual of Agent S-Kate, Isabel Furler, staying on. I hear you've been tasked to find me. And then we cut there. And that'll be the actual ending.
Okay.
Sorry about the second ending. I just thought we had more minutes to fill, and I wanted to do a more dramatic ending. So
Cool.
there you go. It's also a
Job
bit more,
well done, lads.
a bit more tense. Yeah. Poor Bradlin. But whatever.
I know what I'm doing first.
Leaving! Right.
You should get ready a speech of babble for me for next week, please.
Let's go down the list and see what people liked. Zora?
Let me see. Well, I mean, I'd enjoyed just Wesland in general, the pompous git that he is. I mean,
Let me open Weslin's little handout for everyone. This is,
pompous.
now, I don't own any of this art, I'm just using it because it's great, and if people need it credited, please find the credit for the art and post it in the comments, because the artists are great. Well done, guys. Carry on.
I agree.
Trying to think. There's a lot of speaking about. Just a lot of recap.
Mhm.
Trying to think. But it was just well done recap. Quite frankly, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm trying to think of like specifics. I can't really think specifically.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I guess we'll move on then. Alex?
Obviously, I think my scene with Alice
Yeah,
turned out quite adorable.
I like that. I really like the weird awkwardness as well. Where she's like, "Oh, are we friends?" And you're like, "What?" And she goes, "Oh."
Yeah, the awkwardness of two
Mm-hmm.
different types of AI,
It's good. Yeah, I like that.
and obviously then Lyko's involvement in that.
Like, about how awkward that was. I'm learning Eoxian.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It was good.
Cliff notes, yeah. I did enjoy that scene a good deal too.
Any other highlights for you, Alex?
I'm just trying to go back over what happened. Again, yeah, just the Wesland being an insufferable ass.
Personally, I think it was quite charming, but whatever. It's just my opinion, whatever.
But no, he filled the role very well.
Yeah.
And I look forward to us eventually killing him.
But where does the money come from?
Yes.
What about you, Colin?
Well, as I was agreeing there, I very much enjoyed. Firstly, Alex's next conversation with Alice. That was fun, and I enjoyed getting to interject a little bit at the end. What else I like? Yeah, I did enjoy Wesland. The shock ending was interesting.
Oh yeah.
Big twist to Renee. I did have kind of an impression that that's who it was going to be once it started to unfold, unless it was still interesting. And I'm curious to see how that unfolds. It was interesting to see Zigg in action as well a bit. I see it in action because obviously Zigg's not got to do a great deal other than react to other people saying things about an event he wasn't involved in.
Yeah,
but
I know.
even so, we're getting a feel of Zigg's character, which is fun.
Definitely. What about you, Zigg?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Nick's Fives and Lyko's like short sort of just chat. I loved that whole whatever it was he said that presumes we think the same way or
Yeah.
something like that. I really liked that
like
comment.
that a lot.
It was excellent. Again, Wesleyan was just an arse. I was really like fighting down the temptation to just like
Bite him?
kinetic projectile some shit at him.
Dude, telekinetically projectile some shit at him. What a quote.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the ending as well. That was fun.
Yeah, good. And that was a bit jank adding on the ending after it said we'd ended, but I just felt, this can be more dramatic. Let's make it more dramatic.
Begin and end with cinematics.
Yeah, I think it's just cooler that way, right? Plus, I like certain characters. Not gonna lie. Why not give them cool scenes before you guys murder them all? Yeah. So yeah,
We'll see how it
that's
goes.
good. What are we gonna do for titles this time?
I was going to suggest trust and friendship.
I was going to say it's How's Your Reaction, but I mean...
How's your reaction?
I don't need to get every one of the titles. Just so we're clear. I will feel okay with other people getting them.
I mean, you've said some of the titles, but this is just about you.
Yeah, that's true.
So we've got let's see, trust and friendship.
Pay grade?
That's one. We've also got A grade, apparently.
Oh, pay grade.
Is it pay grade?
Oh, sorry, pay
Pay
grade.
grade.
No, A grade.
Pay grade. There we
The
go.
infamousy.
We've also got, what was the one you said? Was it How's Your Eoxian? How's Your Eoxian? What else have we got? What about you, Zigg? Any sessions? I'm gonna get rid of
I
A grade
don't
because that's
know,
not a
I'm
thing.
No, I just I kind of like trust and friendship and How's Your Reaction. I can't really think of anything.
See, I like spin for the entire conversation.
Yeah, that's cute. I do like that.
Oh no, I did have. Oh, I totally forgot what it was. What did you? What was it that you said? Something to do with the smoking, the e-cig.
Oh, the smoking e-cig, like vapor, like the blue light of it. It was like menthol, minty, cold, like Arctic wind blowing in your face. What?
Smoke and mirrors.
Blowing
you know,
smoke.
it's such an offhand comment that was made that like I can't even remember.
Let's
it.
quickly re-listen to all of it.
Right, quickly, right, pause.
Pause.
Anyone listening, just ignore the next 2 hours.
So just replay the audio onto itself again. Why was that session so long? It was the same session twice.
Because it was smoking, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of smoke mirrors going on.
Yeah, blowing smoke. As it says.
Blowing smoke, yeah, that's another one. Blowing smoke. Maybe not thematically appropriate, like visually it's appropriate, but maybe not like
Yes.
narratively. Yeah, is it coming back to you? Like, I mean,
No,
I can't think of how else I described how he smoked, but I did it quite a lot. So, like he smoked,
no, I've lost it.
inhaled, he held it, he breathed out of his nostrils, he breathed it like a dragon breath.
No, I'm sorry. It was so fantastic. Like I can't remember it. I'm done. I quit.
It was a very brief.
Short-lived Zigg.
Yep. Yes, it was a small character type. Right, so out of those ones, what do you like? I'm gonna be honest.
I quite like trust and friendship.
I'm really leaning.
Smoke screening.
Smoke screenings are. I'm really leaning on spin personally because the fact that you tried to
I
put
quite
a
like
spin on
spin
the
as well.
conversation. You were basically trying to spin him. But again, it's. I don't mind. I'm happy to take the vote.
It's all very tempting. I would say, although it was my suggestion, pay grade's one of the weaker ones. I will give my my single transferable vote to How's Your Eoxian, but also spin if How's Your Eoxian is out of contention.
Right, so I guess I'll get rid of pay grade then.
Yeah. Consider the one who came up with it as just the monster.
I'm gonna get.
That's not what I meant to say at all.
I'm gonna get rid of blowing smoke because I think it really matters. So
I
we're down
give
to
up
trust and
on
friendship, how's your oxygen, and spin. Oh
Quoting.
oh.
How's your reaction?
So do we have a split?
So if let's say Nico likes that one, so Colin, spin or how's your oxygen?
Oh, that's a big choice. It's a big. Oh, sorry.
That's fine, right? So now I'll delete this.
Second round.
Yes.
Well, third round at this point. Fucking hell.
What are we going
I
with?
really like spin as well.
Okay. Oh God. Spin is back. There we go. Spin is.
alright.
Oh.
I quite liked Spin.
Did it? It's
Right,
Like spin.
how's your trust and spin?
I can't vote twice with the same icon, so I need to put another one in.
Spin your trust and friendship.
How about
Who's just trusting the spin?
what about that?
Yeah.
I know it's totally.
Yes.
It's a new one. It's a new contender. Out of left field. Drift and spin.
Drift the spin. Like it.
Because you spent
Yeah,
a bit of time in the drift. Also, the conversation drifted time-wise, back and forth, and you just put your spin on the conversation. And then maybe we'll save trust and friendship for an actual more detailed conversation or like development moment in Alice and the crew's relationship. And maybe we'll keep How's Your Eoxian for when you guys decide you want to make the really bad decision of going to Eox.
Immediately next session.
Right now.
I mean, and other noises.
Okay,
Noises.
cool. In that case then, thank you everyone for listening thus far. Mostly Olka and Nick and Olka. Hashtag Calum's Precious. Like that smash button and subscribe.
Mm.
And then as Calum would say, unsubscribe and resubscribe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do that.
Subscribe again.
And just like share all the previous videos on other things as well. I mean, I'm sure you all have various Instagrams, Tumblrs and Twitters and such. Spread the good word of the Fragments of Eternity.
Ring the
Also,
bell
watch it on
icon.
loop, just on the background. Just keep watching. The same one over and over again.
Smash the like button.
Also, in the comments, put up your favourite character moment so far. And win no prizes.
And give us your opinion on the title.
Yeah, like what do you think was a better title? Trust and Friendship, How's Your Oxygen, Spin, Drift and Spin, Pay Grade, A Grade, Misheard, and Alice's Adventure, page 1. Thanks for listening, guys. It was a pleasure. Goodbye.
Without winning enough to fuck with.
Bye.